All right, 11:32 UK time. What's going on, people? I figured I'd just hop on and see what's going on in the world of finance, bit of UK news, US news, China news, and kind of see how that relates to our crypto investments. Bitcoin hit 42,000 last night. Is the thesis still good, right? And let's kind of just check in on the economics of the world, right? Some important stuff going on, and that kind of helps us having a global macro view, as Raoul Paul is kind of, branded himself as the global macro investor. Let's have a look, okay? So I'll pull up the Yahoo Finance in the UK, see what that's going on here. UK, and blow up the screen. Right. Wow. Headline: Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies plunge on Elon Musk tweets. Well, prices crashed to lowest levels since end of February over concerns Tesla could sell its holdings of the cryptocurrency. Now, he bought $1.5 billion worth at 30,000. He sold 325 at some point during the first quarter. The first quarter ended in March, so he's already scaling out. He was already scaling out. Maybe you saw a quick double, and already start. I guess maybe his financiers, CFO, and accountants are like, "Yep, let's book a profit, right? Why not? Why not?" But the tweets since then, his green tweets basically. The guy gets EPA funding. I'm guaranteeing it. He sells his cars with, I'm assuming, governmental discounts, right? Because they're zero emissions. Or at least there's no tailpipe. They're not green cars. They cost a lot of energy to make. Lots and lots of copper, lots of materials, right? So let's have a look. Let's have a look. Bum bum bum. Latoya Harding. Elon Musk sparked concern that Tesla, okay, sell its holdings. We already started selling. Last night, Twitter account called Crypto World tweeted, I read this last night, Bitcoiners are going to slap themselves next quarter when they find out Tesla dumped the rest of their holdings. With the amount of hate Elon Musk is getting, I wouldn't blame him. Musk responded to the tweet with the word indeed. Was he talking about the hate? Or was he talking about the dumping? So, yeah, it's a news-driven event. You figure Bitcoin's a trillion, just under $1 trillion now, right? $1 trillion market cap. So his holdings, he's already been trimming, account for $1 billion. Did he buy 50,000 Bitcoins at 30,000, right? So, 10% is 1.8 million. 1% is 180,000 Bitcoins. So he's basically got 0.25%, roughly. ETH, the second largest cryptocurrency, Ripple, have both likewise dropped 8% on the back of the news, while Dogecoin showing performance, relative performance, is 5% lower. Overnight, Musk also tweeted a reply to journalist and podcaster Peter McCormack, who posted a Twitter thread about Musk's criticism of Bitcoin and support for Dogecoin. Musk said, obnoxious threads like this make me want to go all in on Doge. Yeah, I've been kind of predicting this post-SNL. The comments come over Musk criticized Bitcoin's environmental impact last week. We are concerned about rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels. Again, EPA, government funding, green energy, green stimulus packages. That feeds his business, right? To be that the guy of green, even though he burns rockets and fossil fuels to get to Mars. especially after coal, which has the worst emissions of any fuel. Again, there's clean coal and there's technology to make the emissions from coal-fired power plants very, very clean indeed. But China doesn't abide by those rules because they don't really care. A lot of the smog in South Korea comes directly from China, so poor South Koreans. The Tesla boss reversed the decision made just months before to set Bitcoin as payment for his electric vehicles. Whatever. FTSE falls into the red as UK restaurants reopen indoors. Why would it be falling? Down 45.85. I swear, the FTSE, it's been stuck at around this level for like over 20 years. It's incredible. The UK has no global outreach at all with these companies. Not really. It has niche companies, but nothing. It's a disaster. You look at the FTSE 100. I looked it up the other day, and it's just there's no companies you can literally invest in. Mining, property, banking. Banking is owned by the government, right? Does the government know how to build out, its financial networks in the digital age? No, of course not. Property records tumbles, house prices hit new high. Here we go. Latoya Harding again. She must be really good at her job. Wales led the way with a 13% rise. Wow, yeah, Wales is underpriced, in the UK. Yeah, obviously Northeast will be, there we go, followed by the Northwest, which rose 11%. Yorkshire and the Humber rose 10.5%. I'm assuming people are taking profits from London and just, doing some arbitrage, Property prices in the UK are continuing to hit new highs, with Wales and north of England leading the way as London stands still. Also, you shut down London. So what's the point of being in London if you can't enjoy the benefits of being in a major city? Exodus, I think 1 million people left. A lot of foreign workers left. And they voted in Sadiq Khan again. What a disaster. Average price of houses continue to market this month jumped by 1.8% or £5,767 to £1/3 That's the average, which, if you don't know, in US dollars is $450,000. Greater imbalance between demand and supply in London. The north sees greater imbalance. More people likely to move locally, and some more able to afford to upsize. Basically, London prices are tripled in areas of Britain. Yeah. This was the smallest ratio since 2013. So London should command a major premium. So this has been falling and falling, it looks like, since 2013. But you want London to drive the bull market. If London really tanks, that's not good. Because there's more wealth locked up in London property than anywhere else, of course. Last year's unexpected mini boom is rolling on into 2021, with new price and market activity records again defying many predictions. Buyer affordability is increasingly stretched, but there's obviously some elasticity left to stretch a bit more as many buyers are squeezing their way into higher price bands. Young people, millennials trying to get on the ladder you guys need to get into crypto. I think you need a minimum of 10%. I think 20% is kind of recommended. 20% of this is £66,000. Average UK salaries are piss poor. £9, £10, £11 an hour. Travel firms call for green list expansion after holiday ban lifted. There we go. Thousands of people have departed on international flights after ban on foreigner holidays was lifted for people in Britain. Portugal, one of just a handful of destinations. I need to go back to Portugal. On the government's quarantine-free green list, will welcome 16 flights from England at Faro Airport on just one day. So Faro Airport's like Algarve, south of Portugal, super hot, and with the weather in England being so dreadful, yeah, I can understand why people are aping to get onto these flights. I wonder how much the tickets are costing. They're going to make it difficult, though. I bet to move around the airport, if you could get to your flight maybe 15 minutes before, back in the day, it's going to be 2-3 hours, maybe longer. But amber list: Spain, France, Italy, Greece. You shouldn't go unless you have absolutely compelling reason. Yes, get the freak out, UK. That's compelling enough for me. Those who do travel to an amber country are required to quarantine at home. That's fair enough. We've been locked up for over a year. Most of Europe could actually already go on the green list. Huge pent-up demand. Wow. EasyJet has added 105,000 extra seats to its Flight 7 green tier. What are the green tiers? Well, Portugal's one. Barbados. Caribbean is not on the green list. Many islands pose such a low risk. Yeah, of course. If you're just going to sit on the beach as a holiday, the risk is actually on the airplane, right? When you're locked up in the metal tube, if you're afraid of getting exposed to germs and bugs, right? So there should be some new technology where they do some UV disinfection, right? Either through some lighting in retrofitting planes or having like robots sweep through. It's still readily available. You know, Trump got blasted at talking about UV disinfection, right? He's no expert about this stuff, but he heard it, and it's a true thing. UV light can be used as a disinfection to make viruses inactive. It's a true technology. It's been around for decades, right? Don't go around eating UV light bulbs to clean your insides out, though, right? You have to take one test to get on the plane, one test to get back. We're fully vaxxed. We're going to a green list country and we'll be having to test 48 hours before we fly. So why you have to have another one on 2 days later, I do not understand. Yeah, they're going to make it difficult till you get your COVID passport, a health passport. June 7th. Non-essential travel. Oh, here we go. From Northern Ireland and to do the common travel area. So basically, at the moment, I do believe you can't even go into Wales or Scotland, right? Or hop the border to Ireland. Hop the sea. So that will be allowed from May 24th. That's a week away. So things are really going to start be opening up. Say you've got family in Dublin, now you can see them. Or Glasgow, Edinburgh, or Cardiff, right? That's good. 100-year-old Tesla invention still not completely understood. Was it free to air electricity? Here we go. Predicted it. Yes. Tesla valve. It's not fully understood because the understanding was suppressed, maybe. Yes, it was. Wow, this is beautiful. Okay. Virgin Boss says Australia. Virgin Boss says Australia borders should reopen sooner than mid 2022. Yeah, they're really hammering Australia and New Zealand because the islands. It's easier to force. Well, isolate land masses. It's easier to bring about new society norms when you've got a locked up population, essentially. Same like England, right? UK, whatever. It's harder for Europeans to control, the ECB, no, the EU to control Europeans because they can just, hop borders very easy. Excuse me. Thai Bank strong. Ryanair boss, he's trying to pump up some bookings. Worst loss in 35 years. Yeah. So the trouble is, like, there's going to be some companies that get access to credit lines and some that don't. Some get their loans kind of postponed and some don't. So it all depends on what kind of contacts and relationships you have with those, the bankers, the men in suits, and the governments who tell the bankers what to do, or vice versa. It kind of goes around in a little circle. So if Ryanair or EasyJet has a favorable relationship with those guys, then they will be more likely to survive against the one that doesn't. Right? That's how businesses take out the competition. Luxury yacht maker. Ooh, IPO. Tesla's share price is falling 34%. Really? Why? Closed at 590 from all-time high of 900. I think it was higher because of the splits, well over 2,000, right? Tesla stock is still up about 275%. Where's the chart? 3,000 price target. She's kind of an interesting Kathy Wood. If you ever seen her on YouTube, she's super smart, but got a good track record, right? Yeah, there we go. Great track record when it comes to investing in Tesla stock. It's very bullish on self-driving technology. Yeah, if it has the patents for that, it's very hard for a BMW and Audi to compete with that tech, right? So it's not really about the cars, which I don't think that look that great, but the air updates and the self-driving, and I believe they have patents on their battery technology. So other electric car makers will struggle to compete with the range and life cycle of a Tesla battery. Art believes there's a 50% chance Tesla would achieve fully autonomous driving within 5 years. I think it's sooner than that. I'm going to do a video on this about building a Tesla, but I think they're already ready to launch city driving. So autonomous driving is already like for freeways and motorways, but city driving is like they're ready to roll it out. So you got the city and you got a freeway. Isn't that fully autonomous essentially? Yeah, it is. So she should up that to 80% in 5 years. Yeah, come on, girl, do your research. Travel. It's finance home. 100 a month in UK dividends. Why would he do that? Why would he do that? HSBC shares. Why would he do that as well? Buy something like Tencent, people. Right? Green, lots of green stuff. GlaxoSmithKline, phase 2 COVID trials, boosters, man. Okay. Yeah. Why would you buy HSBC? So what are their picks or they're promoting? Dividend stocks, HSBC. What is Argo blockchain? Oh, shares in the Bitcoin miner. I'll take a look. But yeah, Tencent, I've highlighted this a while back. It should be one of your biggest accumulation stocks you should be into, right? I think they're releasing like 50, 60 games like right now. Here we go. Auto. So beautiful pullback to the Fibonacci 618 is ready to go. Earnings estimate 52 cents. They blew it out 80% higher. Boom. Next earnings. So look, if they do $4 this year, $4 on a $76 stock. Come on, people. That's incredible growth. Price earnings growth you're getting there. Monthly. Yeah, I know it's come a long way. $1. When did Tencent become like a well-known brand? What, around here? Right? So it's already done 99.4. Fib projections 142, 210, 278. So now, you know, Tesla's and Amazon, those kind of big number, US dollar number, nominal numbers have kind of paved the way to see like $1,000 stocks. I think people are more getting used to that kind of deal, right? Before it was just kind of mainly Berkshire Hathaway. You know, we go, well, $250,000 for Berkshire Hathaway single share, but now Amazon going 2, 3, 4,000. Tesla doing what it did. I think it went up to 2. Let's have a look before the splits, right? Before the splits, yeah, $100. We'll take that out this year. I think 142 is a good. I think we can see a double on this 10 cent for sizzle. All right, Yahoo Finance is done. Let's look at zerohedge. Let's get rid of this. This is a problem with UK internet. It sucks. Make you do all this stuff before you can actually get to the website. Okay. Record inflation search volumes as LBMA discredits itself. London bullion marketplace. In yet another signpost en route to London and New York losing precious metals price discovery power to Shanghai. Yeah, that's been going on for best part of a decade, right? This week, the London Bullion Market Association announced that what it claims was a data entry error after the group falsely reported a dramatic escalation from February to March 21 of the supposed silver bullion being held amongst the large ETF custodian banks in London. They had exaggerated total LBMA silver holding by over 106 million ounces for roughly 30 days of time. It was only about 1 year ago we published an 11-minute expose illustrating the correlation between the LBMAs coming into existence 1987. But historically, the LBMA, the site where metals gets traded in London, I think it's centuries old. And widening divergence between East and Western aggregated gold price. I wonder what the premium is in Shanghai. I'm assuming Shanghai gold is more expensive than London and New York gold, right? Does it say? Silver fixes like a tongue-in-cheek inside job amongst cozy London precious metals trading insider pals. Yeah, I hate when they do that, insiders. Today, in May 2021, the US population inherently knows that big price inflation is likely further to come. Yeah, I think in Britain, there's not enough building materials to go around. All the depots are kind of basically empty. Buildings really, really tough to build now. There's a lack of core stuff, right? I think lumber's gone up 80% in England, in Britain. Copper's up 60, 70%, etc. So if you want to do something to your house, lock in the prices now, right? We can see that in overall internet search volumes and the word inflation. The Google Trends chart below covers data since 2004. Yeah, there's a giant wall of dollars that are coming and hitting everything, right? And euros and pounds and yen. Spike. Wow. Interest over time. Yeah, well, that's projection, but it's peaked. Mid 2000 was a commodities boom for 3-4 years, and now it looks like the tens was low commodity price appreciation, but now I think we're in for a commodity super cycle. It's already playing out. Yeah. Okay, enough of this. Anything else go on? Sexual relationships? Oh yes. Epstein's? Young girls? Yes. Just divorce from Melinda? Oh, he's screwed. Implantable pharmacy controls your sleep. Ever heard of PayPal? Elon Musk has epic meltdown arguing with Bitcoin fanatics. See, this difference between zerohedge and Yahoo Finance mainstream. Oh, this is by Tyler. Yeah, I never actually haven't been reading enough zerohedge, so this is good for me to get on here. Boom, 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 boom. It's like a Karen haircut from the 2000s, right, or something. I would like to speak with Bitcoin's manager. Yeah. Trollings. Mic drop. Did you see what being a toxic idiot does to your coin and community? Musk's response was also opening the door for a spat wherein he called Bitcoin highly centralized. Yeah. Hey, cryptocurrency experts, ever heard of PayPal? Yeah, PayPal sucks balls, man. Paid the PayPal mafia. It's possible, maybe, that I know then you realize about how money works. Okay. PayPal laughed my arse out. You mean the company which froze WikiLeaks account? The company which routinely censors payments? Yeah, they do, man. They make the internet. They're basically gatekeeping commerce on the internet. I've run into this a bunch of times now with PayPal, and they charge so much to send cross-border payments. From euros to dollars or pounds to dollars, or whatever, or dollars are back and forth. Man, the spreads on the FX are ridiculous on PayPal. Musk meltdown drew additional jeers from all over Twitter. Max Kaiser wasted no time with critiquing Musk's arguments and went directly for old ad hominem shot at his mother. May Musk. Other claims Musk was ready to rage quit Bitcoin. Elon's Elon's mum, May Musk, carrying Elon. Oh, okay. Basically, smoking, drinking. watching Elon Musk about to rage quit Bitcoin because his ego is too big. It prevents him from understanding it. It is Bitcoin literally doesn't give a fuck who you are or how much money you have. Elon is used to dumb people kissing his ass. He can't tolerate smart people calling him a fraud or worse, laughing at him. Crypto is full of really smart people. I hope they ridicule him relentlessly. He'll implode. God, if the BTC crew triggers Elon to implode, I'll put half my net worth in whatever Nick Carter recommends buckets. Narcissist's inability to stay even approximately in his own lane was always one of Elon's biggest risks. Elon makes Peter Schiff even seem rational. Musk year in crypto. Discovers Bitcoin, loves it. Learns about Bitcoin mining, hates it. Discovers Dogecoin, loves it. Learns about throughput limitations, hates it. Proposes fixing Dogecoin with a 10-year obsolete kludges. Gets clowned by Cryptosphere, keeps digging. Yeah. It's good stuff. Jackson Palmer, Dogecoin co-creator, slammed Musk in a now deleted tweet calling him a self-absorbed grifter. All right. Preston, I like this guy. He's a good guy. The co-creator of Dogecoin, Jackson Palmer, steps out of shadows to tweet and delete. SNL episode was cringe, bruh. Yeah, okay. Oh, zerohedge. Dan Loeb, Steve Cohen, Ray Dalio in, Elon out. Fair trade. That's a fair trade. The American consumer is not happy. They do not see the official optimism about the job market or the macro figures, and the current sugar high is likely to lead to an abrupt sugar low. Airlines might start weighing passengers amid obesity crisis. How much weight did you guys put on during COVID? Oh boy. But let's see. Does that have numbers in pounds and kilograms? No. Oh well. I should have did show comments. Oh well. Vaccine passport and medicinal paternalism. Those individuals that are not persuaded by sophisticated propaganda techniques will be forced to live a life worse than death through the suspension of their freedom. Yeah, it's true. Israel announced introduced its Green Pass, which becomes effective the week after receiving a second dose of the vaccine and expires after 6 months. You have to keep getting those jabs. It was followed by China, which launched its digital international travel health certificate in March. Subsequently, in April, Denmark implemented its Corona Pass, and Estonia introduced its vaccine card. Although the United States government recently dismissed the idea of a national vaccine passport, the state of New York has already launched its own Excelsior Pass. It's amazing how all these different countries and cities all kind of do the same thing, right? Just rolling out weeks after each other. And several other states are developing similar programs, whereas South Dakota, Montana, Idaho, Utah, Florida, Texas, and Arizona have banned the use of COVID-19 immunity passports within their borders. Good on Texas, Arizona, Florida, and the mountain states. But it's fringe, isn't it? Most of the people live on the coast. Northeast, SoCal, right? Bay Area. Other countries have also announced their intentions to launch vaccine passports in the near future, including the United Kingdom, which will be using a National Health Service phone app as its COVID-19 vaccine passport starting on May 17th. That's today. And the European Union, which is planning to facilitate free movement inside the EU with its digital green certificate as of June. You're gonna have to make use of traveling in your neighborhood like I've been doing last year, just walking around aimlessly, just around in circles. In addition to prohibiting unvaccinated people from traveling, boarding planes, staying at hotels, these electronic documents are already being used to prevent them from attending social and cultural events at stadiums, theatres, and museums. No culture for you guys. Unvaccinated citizens are also not being permitted to enter a variety of other venues and businesses like gyms, nightclubs. So good luck staying fit or going out and trying to meet a member of the opposite sex. Studios, swimming pools, hair salons, wedding, and you won't be able to get your hair done or did. Wedding halls, tattoo parlors, no tattoos for you. Restaurants and coffee shops, and no caffeine. What's left? Essentially, the implementation of vaccine passports has led to a situation where governments protect the rights and freedoms of vaccinated citizens. Yeah, you'd be low class now, while infringing upon those, unless you get super rich and then you can go around all this stuff and just live like the rule makers do, right? Ignoring the rules. One rule for you and one rule for us. So you can travel. You can charter planes and boats and all that kind of stuff, right? Just got to be rich. The ultimate goal of vaccine passports, which are based on the notion of health paternalism, is to coerce people into accepting injections of experimental vaccines that have been incessantly promoted by politicians, mainstream news, and unelected medical experts for many months. However, those individuals that are not persuaded to submit themselves to unwanted medical procedures by sophisticated propaganda techniques will be forced to live a life worse than death through the suspension of their freedom as well as the reasonable enjoyment of their lives within their private spheres. James M. Buchanan warned about coercive government measures that abolished liberty. They're always going to chip away, and now this is for the total grab for your freedom and rights, right? Digital money, digital passports. It's a new utopian world. As he argued that state regulations designed to protect individuals based on scientific grounds were highly deceiving because the state is essentially using scientific authority to pose a single moral value on society. Remember just 2 weeks or to flatten the curve last spring? So now they morphed it into this kind of stuff, right? Because the state is essentially okay, it's opened. Okay, this has opened up the ability of the state to impose regulations on the premise of protecting health of its citizens. On tomorrow's arguments about the social cost of sugar, sunbathing, saturated fat, recreational injuries, obesity, and on and on and on. Yeah. Down this road lies not a free society, but a totally regulated society like China. Everyone wants China countries are going to be rolled out across the globe if you let them. With only one acceptable lifestyle as prescribed by the health paternalists. Milton Friedman was also opposed to the health paternalists as he argued that if the government was given the responsibility to protect our health, the logic surely calls for protecting us from using dangerous bicycles, cap guns. The logic calls for prohibiting still more dangerous activities such as hang gliding, motorcycling and skiing, and boxing, anything. Isn't it your own body? Isn't it your choice what you do with that body? Rock climbing, etc. Deep sea, free breathing, diving, racing cars on tracks, motorcycles. Yeah, motorcycles here. Yep. Why limit the government benevolent providence to the protection of individual's body only? Is not the harm a man can inflict on his mind and soul even more disastrous than any bodily evils? Why not prevent him from reading bad books and seeing bad plays, from looking at bad paintings and statues, and from hearing bad music? Yeah, this is basically a global communist takeover, right? Back in the USSR, there used to be only one news channel, one news program. It was the evening news at 8 p.m., right? And the Soviets, the population, would use that 1 hour in the evening to go walk the dogs because the smart ones anyway. They don't want to listen to their propaganda for an entire hour. And so people will just call it a dog walking hour. So they will take the dogs when the news started coming on and just walk around, even if they didn't have dogs outside. But now we have 24-hour news networks, right? It's harder to escape their programming. Vaccination passports support the idea that people can and should be coerced into making healthy choices, which would be condemned as a form of health fascism by Hayek, Buchanan, Friedman, Mises, and many other contributors to liberal theory access across history. Yeah, I like how the left liberalism is basically fascism wrapped up. For your health, for your protection, right? All leftist policies are actually kill more people and suppress more of your freedoms and hamper any economic growth. In fact, like price setting by a central bureaucratic entity, it doesn't work, does it? Why, like in the Soviet Union, they argued a doctor should be paid as much as a taxi driver, right, or butcher. How does that result in better health outcomes? It doesn't, because then there would be no incentive for a young person to put in the 10 years of training and become a medical doctor. You'd be like, screw it. What's the point? There should be some sort of economic carrot, right, for putting out work. Yeah. Freedom from coercion, known as the negative concept of freedom, was highly valued by Locke, Constant, Tocqueville, Hobbes, Bentham, Hayek, Mises, Friedman, and Buchanan. In addition, how too many other liberals. Yeah, liberals would hate this stuff going on. They'd be outraged. I would say I'm pretty liberal. I'm so liberal, I don't want anyone to tell me what to do, right? And I don't tell other people what to do. Basically, mind your own business. Isn't that the most liberal thing one can be? How much am I to be governed? What you do, what you say, what you think, what you put in your body. Liberals are largely against despotic and tyrannical rulers and governments. Proponents of the concept of negative freedom believe that there should always be a frontier between public and private spheres, and that individuals, there used to be a border, a hard line where governments could not overstep into your private domain, right? Now they can knock on your door for bad tweeting. The police, right, in the UK, Australia, a bad Facebook post, or they just get the tech platforms to outright deplatform you, right? Okay, this is kind of depressing me. Boy. Out of control Chicago weekend. That's the bummer city. This is a completely Democrat-run city for decades now. This is what happens. New video reveals Capitol Police officer giving protesters permission to enter building. This has to be peaceful. Where's my wife's car? UFC, because that lose. What? Where's my wife's car? What happened to his Tesla? Oh, Darius, the aging UFC star Tony Ferguson. He took such a battering the previous fight, I think. So I think he's really aged. Um, shall I play it? Okay, he's waiting on his car. All right. Boop, 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 boop. America's housing future remains murky at the best. Who's buying these houses and where are they coming up with the cash? Yeah, where are they coming up with the cash? Yeah, this is amazing. The price to build a new house has gone up $36,000 because of the price of lumber just going nuts. So, part of this driven by government continued to cloak itself in the guise of being a good and kind friend to first-time buyers and helping them buy homes. This has helped move many a buyer into homes they can't afford, cannot take care of, and simply don't need. The McMansion. If they keep selling you this dream, you got to own this by the time you're 40. Even they got racked. Even though you exit college in America, what, 22, 23, got a couple $100,000 of student loan. Job market's like been wrecked 2-3 times now. Tech wreck, GFC, now COVID, right? Employers with that kind of backdrop, less likely to employ a new grad, right, and give them the career pathway, right, of success, right. Buyers and sellers should beware. The argument that the housing game is a racket and moves on to the promise of big money is highlighted by several facts. Yes, I agree. Complete racket. For those accepting this argument in some ways, this can be linked to the World Economic Forum's 2030 agenda that states in 2030 you will own nothing and be happy. Everyone planning to money into housing and locking up all their wealth in housing, in bricks and mortar. If you're a landlord, you've got multiple houses. So they're going to promote in the mainstream news, ever increasing house prices, record house prices, and stuff like this. But listen to what Klaus is saying. You will own nothing and be happy. In this piece below, Crystal Ball of the Rising explains why the housing market is booming for those in the upper middle class. She finds that what it means for cost of homes in the future. Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. There's 2 million realtors in America. Wow. Wow. This means some agents may sell a single house per year for their friend, while others, such as Ben Caballero, have built empires. Yeah, you've got superstar real estate agents, and most people plugging away at the bottom, isn't it? Selling one house a year. How are you supposed to live off that? In America, so people in the UK don't. You have these like superstar estate agents in a particular city or town, and they will have a team behind him of 15, 20 people, maybe more, an office, right? And that face, the head, will plaster an entire city with his image. So that's the only thing you think of when you try to sell a house. You think of that particular person, or maybe 2 or 3 other people, right? And they just gobble up all basically the market. So a new person trying to come in now has to work for him to make a living, right? You can't be an independent estate agent. It was very hard, right? It should be noted that at the same time, many houses in America sit empty or underutilized, and we are hearing about a lack of new listings. I attribute this to sellers holding units off the market because they think prices will rise. This is very dangerous. They owe more for the house they can get. And they fear the selling process will be complicated. Yes, it is. Many economists may use housing starts as the indicator of health of the economy, but that was back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, right? This old metric. But such numbers are only a small part of a much larger picture. This number reflects many things other than just the number of new houses under construction or started in a given period. The data is generally divided into 3 categories: single family house, townhouses, or small condos. A lot of the hedge funds like BlackRock own huge swathes of apartment buildings in like LA and big cities now. So before, back in the day, you could buy an apartment building solely and run it and make a great living off it. Not anymore. You've been priced out. Data is generally divided into 3 categories: single family houses, townhouses, or small condos. National home price. Look at this. Wow. 240,000. Right? No, this is indexed. This is indexed. So since 1990, it's tripled. Average house. Your wages have not tripled. That's the problem, right? That is the problem. Wages have been stagnant, flat. That's why back in the day, in the 70s, right, a dude on his single salary could buy a pretty big house, have 2 cars, have a little boat for little fishing trips, and support a wife and 2-3 kids, right? Yeah. Affordability is a growing issue. While people talk about the cost of buying a home, more attention should be directed towards the ability of the buyer to maintain their home after they purchase it. Yeah, people don't factor that in. Not only are new home prices on the rise, but so are real estate taxes and other fees. There's nothing inexpensive about a new home. Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, housing. Buy digital property, people. This Druckenmiller. I love this guy. It's a legend. There we go. Yeah, let's talk about the Fed. Druckenmiller. There's been no greater engine of inequality than the Fed. That's their entire mandate. Destroy happy countries and wealthy countries and make them into, upper tier, upper class people and basically the plebs. After his status quo shattering appearance on CNBC this week, during which he warned that the Fed policy is endangering the dollar's reserve status. You want to buy some BTC? Billionaire fund manager Stan Druckenmiller. He doesn't manage anyone else's funds now. He just does his private, personal funds. Right? He's closed up his shop, but he made billions and billions. Stan Druckenmiller spoke to the USC Marshall Center for Investment Studies Student Investment Fund annual meeting. That's a long bloody freaking title. Meeting via Zoom, and shocked the onlookers with his frank assessment of our current perceptions and realities. This is going to be good. This is going to be important to read. After the Bank of Canada sheepishly admitted this week that some of the monetary policy tools it is using to address the COVID-19 pandemic, such as quantitative easing, could widen wealth inequality, Druckenmiller drops the proverbial hammer on all the hedge speak could and blast that. I don't think there has been a greater engine of inequality than the Federal Reserve Bank of the United States. So hearing the Chairman Powell talking about visiting homeless shelters is very rich indeed. What a hypocrite. The outspoken fund manager went on to know that everyone wealthy that I know is making fortunes because this guy Powell is printing money like there's no tomorrow. Adding that the kids in Harlem are not benefiting from money printing, but wealthy people are, exclaiming that for the life of me, I can't understand why the left is so excited about money printing when all the data shows that the people who benefit from money people are rich people. The odds on bet is that we're going to have inflation. It continues, and inflation again is going to hurt poor people again a lot more than rich people. How does this all end? I talked about this in when reading Arthur's blog. How a middle class person has to leverage up hugely. Anything they can save, they need to leverage up. If they just purchase some cryptos, that takes away some of that pressure off. The need to leverage, right? So you don't need to go on Binance futures. How does this all end? The asset bubble, which power is blowing up into unbelievable proportions, bursts before the inflation ever really manifests itself. Wow. That's what happened in the housing bubble in 08, 09. We never really got the inflation because the asset bubble burst. You can't have asset bubbles burst. It's better to let them keep blowing up. I mean, rising. Look at Japan, 1989. 32 years later. Not dissimilar to what happened in 1929. And Druck reminds us all that there's no group that will be hurt more by a bust than the poor. They will be first in line to get screwed. But let's start with the Fed and the I don't think there's any. Yeah, so any time that the Fed chooses, they can pull the rug out. That's the problem right now. If they are directed to by the people that own the Fed, so they can cause mass pain, mass economic pain at any time. Just pulling the liquidity right from out all of under these assets that have been rising so fast. Cryptocurrency doesn't have its own Fed per se, although some might argue Tether-ish, Binance USD-ish, but nothing compared to what's going on in like stocks and housing and bonds, right? Total assets held by the can I blow up? Yeah, total assets held by the top 1%, 99th to 112th percentiles. So the blue line is the top 1%, the elite. The COVID crash, right? They made 33% growth on the assets. Share of total assets held by the bottom 50%. 0. Look at that. It's just flatline. Once you're in that economic class, it's impossible to escape unless you own some crypto. Assets, total assets. Imagine if you bought one BTC for $250 and you never sold it. You lost the keys, but then you found it 10 years later and it's worth, I don't know, 300 grand. Now you've got a digital asset that you can get lines of credit off. You can live off that. You could buy a, house, something. That's just one. Imagine if you've got 2 or 3 suddenly found again. So locking up your crypto assets are ways to really pull yourself up. What's the green line? Total assets less eliminations from consolidation. I don't know what that is kind of getting at, but it's basically the same as the 1%. Okay. Wow, this is a long article, but I can show you. I looked at this. I wanted to find, because I did a Bitcoin video and I was talking about how the Fed balance sheet, I think, or M2 is like 20 trillion. So this is their assets. Fed, ECB, and BOJ in dollars. So the assets could be basically treasury bonds, some sort of government bond, mortgage-backed bonds. They really are backing the market. Well, asset prices, right? Look how it was flat during Trump's term. That's why Trump was like, "Hey, man, you're not giving me the liquidity, right?" They did post GFC, and through the first term of Obama, Biden was there too, and they are giving Biden lots of cash. So they're promoting leftist ideology and leftist kind of or funding leftist programs, right? Green deals and etc. They don't like. Trump was calling for America to open up, right? Trump was calling it here. He was what's before he last got booted. He created a deal where pharmaceutical companies had to sell pharmaceuticals in America at the same price as they did it anywhere else in the world. If you can buy a pill for $1 in Canada, why are you selling it to Americans for 100? The discrepancy is like huge. Fleecing. Major central banks' total asset. Again, during Trump's term, they were decreasing the liquidity, right? Fed, ECB, and BOJ in dollars. Fed is red line, ECB is blue line. Wow, look at the blue line. Racing ahead. There's about 500 million people in Europe. So Europe, they're really trying to do a commie takeover. Bank of Japan. Wow, look at that. Fed in dollars. Fed assets, $1 trillion. Weekly. Total, 7.8. Securities, 7.2. So this is the treasury bonds, the mortgage-backed bonds. They call it assets, basically debt, right? So here's when they try quantitative tightening. Here's when you got the Dow having huge crashes during Trump's reign, right? They really were trying to get him out of office. Didn't want to get him into office, but they were actively pushing him out. He still got the stock market pump, didn't they? tax cuts. Wow. So if they pull this liquidity, they can do that anytime they want, right? Send major major shocks to stock markets, bond markets, housing. Interest rates will skyrocket. ECB in euros. Apparently forever. APP. Well, when the euro was created, euro was only created in like year 2000. They held no assets, and these assets are kind of basically debt. There's no building. There's not financing to build out Europe. It's financing to suppress Europeans. It's shocking. All right, I had enough of this. Close. And this is direct from the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. M12. Yeah, I was talking about 20 trillion M2, right, against Bitcoin. Yeah, we're basically at 20 trillion. Wow, look at this. M1 April 4.7 trillion. M1 in May 16.2. Wait a minute. This is the wall of money. Why? I'm really confused now. M1. What is the difference between M1 and M2? So the currency in circulation is growing, but very slightly. Actual notes and coins, reserve balances is growing. I think these are bank reserves, right? Monetary base. Here we go. Again, but M1, M2. This is weird. This is direct from the Fed, right? These numbers are correct. Total borrowings. So this is their money stock. This is how they call it. Their money stock. This is what their primary dealers can access to buy stuff, right? And the Treasury, United States Treasury, can access, right? Because if the Fed buys Treasury notes from the Treasury, now the Treasury, United States Treasury, can fund Biden's programs, right? This is kind of how the circle works. Yeah, okay, I'm getting an hour. Let's quickly look at China daily, because I promised I would talk about China. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see the difference, right? China bolsters pandemic safeguards. They don't have any cases, literally hardly any. Will COVID-19, this is freaking from China, vaccine change human DNA. It's scientifically forced that a potential vaccine for COVID-19 would change people's DNA and make them genetically modified according to scientists. Wearing masks would cause CO2 poisoning. Rumor. Can vegetarian diets prevent COVID-19 infections? Rumor. Does China manipulate statistics throughout the outbreak? Rumor. Any FUD? They're calling this rumor as well. So they tell you one thing and do the other, right? Guangdong, foreigners. COVID-19 vaccination service for foreigners. Do you want to go to China? COVID-19 survivors should wait 6 months before donating blood. What? How can a viral infection in your respiratory system hang around in your blood? Red blood cells, white blood cells, hemoglobin. What's that got to do with a respiratory influenza corona family virus. I don't know. Why has it never been an issue before? Protests at AstraZeneca. Wuhan benefits from effective virus control. Norway rules up use of. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. Cumulative infections. Wait a minute. 32 million, 33 million. Deaths. 600,000. 600,000 on 33 million. 2%. 24 million. 270,000. 1%. Just say 1% case fatality. I looked up Mumbai's infection fatality rate. It was like 0.23%. So are these numbers inflated? United Kingdom, right there. Wait a minute. 4 million people got infected. 10% of the population. They are saying. All right. It's not for coronas. State of emergency extended in Japan for what? Tornado? Earthquake? Oh. 41% of Japan's population now live under a state of emergency due to worsening coronavirus infections. Is the Olympics going on? I doubt it, right? 2 months' time. The games will go ahead safely and securely. Okay. It's all coronavirus, isn't it, on China? US stimulus may cause inflation across the globe. There we go. Running away. Biden's running away from Afghanistan. There's a bunch of interpreters working in Afghanistan, basically local people who are working for, allied forces or whatever you want to call it. The Taliban are basically got targets on these people because they see them as traitors, and Biden's just going to let them to be come shot at. As soon as the troops leave, they're going to be taken out by the Taliban. You should be getting these people out who helped you, right? Census to help China prepare for challenges. Well, money supply poses global inflation risk. Yeah. Fire, fuel shortage. I think there's a pipeline thing, ransomware. Where? China, Unicom, and Hawaii unveil plan for 5G advanced tech. Tencent, I told you about Tencent, launches 60 new games. There we go. Private equity VC firms sustain tech funding. Green firms, a date with China. More young visitors flock to the birthplace of the CCP party. Why? They've been brainwashed since birth. Green firms. Forum in Beijing sheds light on late 12th century. Oh, that's beautiful. It is pretty, right? It is pretty. Red tourism booming as CPC celebrates centenary. CPC. China Political Communism Party. Wow, is this it? This is where it all started. Communist Party of China. Communist China Party. CCP sounds better, doesn't it? Red tourism. Wow. Sports, Olympics. Lewandowski. Spotlight. So we look at one of these high-tech cities. Wuhan Eastlake High Tech Development Zone. Yeah, Wuhan's booming, man. Oops. Okay, maybe I won't click on these links. All right, I think I'm done. Let's look up Bitcoin quickly. Doge Hex is down 11%. Monthly candles. Started the month 0.01 cents. No, 1.75 cents started May. We hit a high of 6.7 cents. Currently trading at 4.7 cents. Not too bad, not too shabby. How many candles are like this? We see 1, 2, 3. Can we see a back to back? Can we see a back to back? Let's move that. So there's a potential to come back down to here, 4 cents. Potential. That'll be okay. It's really messy, isn't it? What's this high? 6.69. 6.73. Most recent high. This low was basically the previous low. This is going to be difficult to figure out. Okay, this one. Major low, right? Another major low. Another major low. Ooh. Another major low-ish. Ooh. No. Because it keeps on going higher and higher. This low here is pretty key. Ding. What is this low? 0042 or 4.27 cents. So you don't want to see this taken out. Then you would have a potential of a downtrend, right? And 18-day average. No. That would, if it takes out this low, then you would go neutral. Closing below 18, then you're kind of looking for downtrend, further weakness. But 18-day average is continuing going up. So it's just another day of digestion of all this move. Let's do a fib. Trend fib projection. Boom. 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 That's close enough. No, it's not. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Come on. Yeah, 6, 7, 3, 3. Okay, so 2.618 projection is 10 cents. Yes, I like that. I like that a lot. Bitcoin. Bitcoin is making a Recovery. Bitcoin's making a recovery. It's 2 and 4 hours. I was making these highs and lows. Here we go. So it's got to take out. It's got to take out 46648. 46648. Another $800. That'd be great. Great to see. Then we can neutralize and we'll start closing above the 18 moving average, which is a 3 days worth of price, historical price. And we can get moving again. Cool. Good to see. All right. I've been streaming long enough, an hour and 16 minutes. Peace. Balaji is out.